All right, we have Arno Matile with playing Death and Texas against.
Chris Rothen with Rug Delver.
Tell me about Rock Delver. What
Uh,
is different from You Are Delver that we saw last game, and why is Rock Delver such an amazing and performing deck at the
I
moment?
I think Blue Red Delver is kind of strange as as a deck for the moment because if you add green, you can have like Tarmogoyfs and Brennan Six that are pretty insanely good cards.
Oh, really?
I think so. I don't know. I read something like this sometimes on internet. You know.
Well, now I can use my statistics.
I, th-
Yeah, actually,
I think
yes.
like decks like this are like two of the high tier decks. I think Rug Delver is maybe a tier one, I would say, in Legacy, and Death and Taxes is still making really good results online. I saw, and I think it's really good. And
Yeah,
I saw it's really populated also in this tournament. There are some good amount of
yes,
DNT.
exactly. So Rock Delver is basically playing all the good cards at the moment. It's playing Brainstorm Ponder, obviously. It's playing True Name Nemesis, usually Delver of Secrets, Tarmogoyf, sometimes Dreadhorde Arcanist. And Renin 6 is actually by far the most played Planeswalker in the format, even ahead of Chase and Narset, by a considerable margin, actually. And the way the deck plays is just like any other Delver deck. It tries to create tempo, control your opponent's mana with Mace Lance, sometimes even Stifle, Daze, and Spell Pierce to slow it down.
I have to say, I think in this matchup, Renan 6 is pretty important for the lands, just because Death and Taxes is pretty good at taking you off, like giving you issues to play your stuff.
Yes,
And I think to develop your plan, Renan 6 is really good if
yes.
you can get it down. But
Also, in this situation where Chris opted to Force of Will the Ether Vial, which is obviously very strong against the Mana Denial plan,
sure.
and having a Wasteland in his hand of his own, is pretty well set up to actually control the Death and Texas player.
Yes. It is an interesting match. I think I don't know who is favorite. I think Death and Taxes is good at playing this kind of games, but I think it's really close. I think.
Yeah, it's actually quite. I played this matchup a bunch, and it's actually in favor of the Death and Texas player, especially when he has Atrovile.
Yeah, I think so too. I played just one time in my life Death and Taxes, and it was like I think 7 or 8 years ago. I played a Ovino tournament in Milano,
Hmm.
and I got top four with Death and Taxes. Let's see the deck list we have.
Yeah, but the matchup is also quite volatile, and now that Death and Texas does not have access to Atrovile, I think Rock Belver is kind of in a driver's seat as well.
Wait, that's not a rug del. Yeah, but
Yeah, I think we got
the
actually
wrong deck list.
the wrong deck list for the Delver player, but it seems to be the right one for the Death and Texas player. So this Death and Texas list still runs Mother of Runes instead of the new Mother that actually is a 1/2 creature and would survive Ren at 6. But he's running 2 Tomic in the main deck. And Tomic, of course, shuts down Ren and 6 quite nicely.
Atomic is like an auto include or better. I saw a lot of deck lists that play Atomic now, two off.
Yeah,
It's
it's quite a good
something.
tutor target for Recruiter of the Guard as well.
Yes, sure.
But all of that doesn't really matter if you don't have Ateral because it will be kind of too slow.
Okay.
And finally, a Talia on the side of Death and Taxes. Talia is, of course, one of the most important cards in this matchup, but now it just gets used to jump block at Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it feels like the game is pretty over, I think,
Yeah,
because Tarmogas are too big, and it's interesting. I think, yeah, uh, I think I would not shuffle, to be honest. Anyways, I would have. He didn't play land. This way, I would have taken the Westland. I think. I think he didn't play the land. West landing one of the lands, and he has still a Force of Will in his hand. He can play just one threat, and one threat is not
Yeah,
enough
it's enough.
against double Tarmogoyf. I don't know, but still. Chris Rothen is a really good player from the Swiss German part of Switzerland. I know him from GPs.
Yeah. So what do you expect out of the sideburn of the Rock Delver player?
And the deck that I built with Ragdelver, I'm thinking about what he could set in. A Braid, I think, is one of the cards. It deals with creatures and it deals with Ether Vials. It's really better on the draw than on the play than on the draw, but it's still good enough also on the draw.
Yes.
He is bringing in Ancient Grudge, it seems, and
Yeah,
it makes sense to me.
Ancient Grudge is a very good
Yeah, it's really,
response to the Death on Texas game plan as well,
yeah,
because
it's
Aetherwile and
equipments.
equipments
Yeah,
are the two things that
matter.
kind of, yeah, matter. So if Death on Texas gets to stick like a big better skull, especially with a sword or a chit on top of it, things get really dicey quite quickly. But with Ancient Grudge, you're just so safe, and the trade's 2-for-1 as well.
Would you keep the days on the draw?
Um, Actually, it depends. I started to keep in the spell peers in control deck lists because they usually side in planeswalkers, cataclysm, stuff like that.
Sure.
And if
I
you bolt the Stoneforge Mystic, you still want some counter magic for the equipment itself if you don't have Ancient Grudge. So
sure,
it's
but
not so
days
bad.
is
But Days, yeah,
you
exactly.
can go.
I was coming to that.
Yeah,
Days is a different story. So I don't think you actually want them, and because you don't really have to side out anything else, and you have plenty of cards to side in. I think Days is definitely the
he is
cards you jump.
keeping all four. I think. I don't know. Against a deck with Talia and so on, I don't like to play days. That's my when I am on the draw. I think on the play you should keep all of them, with no big
Yeah,
doubts
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
no doubt.
But on the draw, it feels a little bit less impactful.
Yes.
It's still pitchable with the force,
Yeah, and it
but
still can catch him off guard, and if
sure,
it does, it
sure,
is still a free counter
sure,
spell,
sure.
even late game. It
Yeah,
depends on what they're sideboarding and how the games turn out.
yeah. It feels really less good.
Yeah,
Also because it's not really good against that RVL.
yeah.
And
Maybe his plan is to,
take out the RVL
force
with.
or grudge the Ethervile
Sure.
in any
I
case,
think
and then it's
that's
life
the
again.
plan, but
Yeah, that's
I
the
think
plan.
he can also play against an Ethervial into play. It's not like the game is over if Ethervial sticks. It's not Chalice of the
No,
Void
it's not Chalice of
against.
the Void, yes. But it's almost as bad.
No, I would not say so. But it's
No,
still
no, you
really
can still. The
good.
difference,
Yeah.
of course, is
You
that
can play
you
Magic.
can play. Yeah, you get to resolve brainstorms and stuff
Yeah.
like that. You can still bolt their creatures.
You can do stuff.
You can do stuff, but DNT's
Okay, here
likely to do more.
Chris' hand is Volcanic Island, a Daze, Force of Will, Stifle, Bolt,
Stifle.
Renan 6, and
And that's
Delver.
why he kept in the stifle. Nicely done
Yeah.
by him.
And he has a Delver also, I think, and he has a Bolt also. Okay, he has to shuffle
Um,
here. He needs lands.
Unfortunately, we don't see Arno's hand, but I would guess that he either has like Thalia and another wasteland, or something else really absurd, because otherwise you just don't keep a 7 with Atrovile if you don't curve out really nicely.
I think you have to keep fair hands in this matchup. To be
Yeah.
honest, I
Yeah,
think
see, that's
you
what I mean,
don't
double
need
wasteland.
like. Oh, that's really good
That
looking.
is really good, yes.
Wow, top deck. From the top of the deck. He has still two cards that he can play. It's a Daze and a Force Will. The rest of his hand is something he cannot play. He has to make the Daze now, I think.
Yeah, I think so. We didn't really talk about the game plan of Death and Taxes in this matchup too much, but it's basically to slow down the Delvers and to, eventually grind out the late game, because that's what Death and Taxes is very good at in this matchup. So I'm expecting him to board in Path to Exile, maybe Dismember, stuff like that.
I think he tries to keep it fair. That's what Death and Taxis tries to do always, kind.
Yeah.
It's like just training cards and then make some little advantage with the classical white deck card advantage cards.
Yes.
That's something new in Magic, but
And Arno is opting to play the second Caracas
does
in
he
favor
play?
of playing Path
Ooh,
safely through mana, through days.
no mountains for no basic lands for Chris.
Yes.
Zero basic
Rock
lands.
Delver usually plays 0 basic lands.
Zero.
Is that Atomic? That was Atomic, right?
Yes.
And we
Wow.
actually saw Ren and 6 in Chris's hand, so Atomic would have been amazing if it got to stick.
Wow, this game is in a bad way for Arno. In a really bad. What? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he has Ren and 6, and he can play Ren and 6 next turn. He wants to get back the land, I think.
Yeah, that's
But
why he bolted it
yes, but I'm not sure about it. It is true that
he does have
the
another
mana
bolt,
denial is
though,
real.
right?
Yeah, no, I think he has another. Yeah, he has another lightning bolt. It makes sense, I think. Yeah,
And now he gets to
take the volcanic back. I would take the
wow,
volcanic back. Just
that
because
is
if you
interesting.
take the volcanic back, the red sources in your deck are 3, and that's not a high amount against a deck that has denial
Yeah,
with
but
Rishon Fort and
you can still get it back later. And I
yeah,
think the
that's
fetch
that.
land is obviously better to have.
I'm not.
He does have a
Thought,
ponder.
yes, I know, I know, I
He
know.
wants the shuffle effect. We will see. He would actually like to find a wasteland now, I think. Killing Port and then Caracas next turn is actually really good.
Yeah, it seems like when he hit the second land that was a red land, it felt like the game just went away from the. It wasn't
Yeah.
a good moment for Death and Taxes for some moments, and then at some point it was just over. It felt.
Yeah, it feels really over, right? He needs like back-to-back
Force of
Stoneforge
Will.
Mystic draw. And even then with Bolt and Force it's still really
Force and
rough.
Bolt and Stifle is his hand. I don't know. It feels like pretty
Feels
over.
pretty over, yeah. How much is the ultimate? 6 for Ren and
It's
6?
6, I think. Yes. 7 or 6. I'm not sure anymore.
Either way, he's getting very close to just start casting Ponders and Bolts from his graveyard. I would be angry if it were not 6. You know, being Ren and
Yeah,
6.
I understand it. I
Why is it
understand
called Ren and 6 anyway? It doesn't make sense to me at all.
it.
Why is the name a number?
I think you can send a letter to Wizard of the Coast. They will be really intrigued to speak with
Yeah,
you
they will also
about
be
it.
very interested in my opinion.
It's 7.
God damn it. Screw you, wizards.
Anyways, the game is
Anyways, the
over.
game is over, yeah.